The Hollowing. Chapter 1. The Bugs. The stale dungeon air clung to everything, as if it alone held the walls in place, daring the stones to catch their breath. An unnatural silence stood guard, a stifling reminder of how long he'd been held captive. Dampness invaded the burlap, weaving its way into the very core of the fabric. Oogie Boogie could feel the creeping emptiness, urging him to forget who he was and where he came from. A dark, unnatural magic. Even the shadows cast by the moon moved cautiously here, where once they had danced with the wisps and fae of this world of eternal night. The creatures who once flourished in the kingdom of twilight, now bent and deformed, no longer roamed freely between this realm and the world of men. After the transformation, they appeared as little more than insects, bugs, vermin to be trampled underfoot. Yet even here, in this forgotten place, Oogie cared for them. He had managed to tear a small hole in the shroud he had been wrapped in, so these creatures could find refuge in what was once his body. It took what little magic he could summon, but through the stones, carved deep with ancient runes, Oogie called upon a power to offer the last of his hope to those who had none. This ancient magic drew the bugs to him, the creatures who had once moved with elegance through the mystical world, now fleeing to find sanctuary in the tomb that was his prison. They sought refuge in Oogie. Few had survived the change. Those who did were warped in some way, drained, bent, twisted, hollow. The last 3 surviving children of the kingdom had escaped, saved by the love of their parents, who had forged them masks from the fading twilight as the old kingdom died. This magic concealed their true nature from Jack and his followers. Though shielded, they were not safe. The children realized what the bugs were and followed their trail as they cautiously swarmed past the swamp to the abandoned guard shack on the cliff above the prison. A sinister magic was the only sentry left to guard against escape. The boys managed to offer Oogie small comforts through the old piping system that ran to each cell. It had once been used to feed prisoners, though the last of them had vanished long before Oogie ascended the Twilight Throne. The boys offered what food they could spare, though Oogie could no longer eat. They offered him rare candles, though he could no longer feel warmth. And on the rarest of occasions, with a courage born of despair, they would sing through the pipes. It was these songs that reminded Oogie that he was still real. Through the cracks and through the stones, through runes carved deep with ancient bones, through the dark and through the fright, through the twisted black of night, through the whispering of the sacred winds that may never share their tales again, we will offer up with holy flame, we will sing forth your hallowed name. This we bear our final task, from behind our namesake's death shroud masks. In the desperate hours we call on thee, Oogeth on Boogeth on Ree. Though sung with love, each song would inevitably end with Jack's cruel laughter echoing in Oogie's head as he wondered if Sally was still out there somewhere. His mind filled with desperate visions, echoing cruelly through the fragments of his shattered mind, until once again the silence returned.